This 3-lever lock was securing an external door actually yesterday, believe it or not. Keys were missing and the lock needed to be opened. So I just wanted to have a quick chat about how I go about opening 3-lever locks, because at one stage I very much relied upon a set of tryout keys like this, which you would feed in, and one at a time you would work your way through them, and if you got lucky then you would be able to open the lock. There were occasions where these wouldn't work, or you would spend an awful lot of time and then you would wonder, having gone through all of the keys 2 or 3 times, you would wonder what you'd done wrong. On this particular lock, if we put the tryout key in, you can see that it gets very sticky in there. It won't turn, and the levers are really heavy and bound, and so these basically will not work on this particular lock I've got in the advice here. So the alternative is to be less of a locksmith and apply a locksmith mentality to this, and there are tools that allow you to open these. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the cap off. Hopefully it won't explode. This is virtually as it was when it came out the door, so the case is still full of years of debris and rubbish. But if we have a look at this, let's pop that down on the side. There we go. So if we have a look at this lock, 3 levers, you'll notice that the levers are pivoted from the left-hand side rather than the right-hand side. And that is significant when we have a chat in a minute about how we go about opening locks like this. So let's take the levers out, and there you can see it's the talon where the bolt is obviously picked up and thrown. And the tryout keys were not working in this, and the reason being, as you can see, this is getting in the way and not allowing it to sort of rotate. And also the springs on these levers are quite strong, but also you're acting on those levers pretty close to the spring, so there's not a lot of leverage there. So these really don't work too well on locks like this. So the alternative is to use a 2-in-1 tool. This is an RB Medical's 2-in-1 tool, and this allows you to obviously pick up the talon and tension the bolt, and then pick the levers individually. But the first thing you need to do with these is you need to make them suitable for the lock. So if we look at the cap, you can see that I've actually filed this one down so that it just fits through the keyway there. It's tight, but it's good enough. It allows me to insert this tool through that keyway, and obviously you need to get yourself a file. You need to just work on the tip, and then once you've done that, then this 2-in-1 will be perfect for locks like this, all the locks with a keyway of that height. And then if we have a look inside the lock, you can see that when I pop that in and rotate the tension arm round, you can see that it just picks up that talon perfectly there. It just clears it and picks it up. So we know that this pick is going to work, and it's going to be able to apply the tension to this bolt and obviously to the bolt stump. Let's pop these levers back in. I'm going to pop the cap back on now. Just bear in mind that if you were to pick this using a 2-in-1, and when you've tensioned it, when you bring the picking tip round, you can see that it hits the lever round about here, and that's a lot of leverage that you need to apply to be able to lift that lever. But wouldn't it be better if you actually rotated that round and picked the front of the lever where there's very little leverage required or effort required, but as you can see, you can still lift it. So you can tension the bolt in the clockwise direction and pick up the talon, and then you can pick the levers in an anti-clockwise direction and still get the lock open. So that's what we're going to do. Let's just pop this back together. Okay. We've got a little cheat sheet here. There's a hole in the side of the lock that allows us to see the bolt stump and also the levers. Obviously we don't need that to pick it, but it's there anyway. Let's just pop this back in the vise. Okay. There we go. So what I'm going to do is insert the 2-in-1 tool. So if we put the tension tip in first, as you can see, it fits through there like a glove. To the back of the lock, rotate it round, and as you can hear and you can see there, it's picked up the tension on that bolt. And then if I put the picking tip in, if I turn it the same direction, clockwise, onto that first lever, I'm having to apply a lot of force on that to get that first lever to lift. But if I turn it round anti-clockwise, you can see that it's now really loose and easy. So what I'm doing is I'm applying tension clockwise and picking anti-clockwise. It doesn't matter, because the bit that's important is the bit that pulls the bolt through the lock. So I'm just working my way backwards and forwards through all 3 levers now, applying a reasonable amount of tension to the bolt. And there we go. As you can see, I walked the levers up against the side of the bolt stump there. Walked the levers up, and then when they had all bound at the right height, obviously the lock released and it unlocks. And there we go. Now, that process, presuming this was already cut to the correct height, the process of picking it is about the same amount of time as you would have spent maybe using 1 or 2 of these. So this really is a method that's worth considering. Get yourself some 2-in-1 picks, and you can pick these. You can pick this closed as well quite easily. There we go. 3 little taps and the lock is now closed, or locked back in the locked position. And then we can take the tool out. So consider getting yourself some 2-in-1 picks. This is a 7 gauge. And as you can see, it's got a fat tension arm on it. So this is for locks that are mounted on the left, where obviously you pick the bolt up at the back of the lock. Also suitable for picking the bolt up in the centre of the lock as well, as some of these 3 lever locks work. And then obviously we've got the picking tip there, which we don't really want to stress, which is why turning that in the opposite direction works so well on this lock. And with a little bit of practice, you'll be able to get these open in a very short space of time, and then you'll be able to consign these to the bin, or sell them to someone else who wants to be lucky, or not, as the case may be, because you've now developed the skills that you need to be able to open 3 lever locks with proper tools. Okay guys, well I hope that helps. See you soon.